The Asia Pacific Business Forum podcast, exploring business, policy, and personalities across the Pacific region.
Hello, my name is Dick Drobnik, the host of this Asia Pacific Business Forum podcast conversation with SD Darmono, one of Indonesia's transformative business leaders and a very important thought leader of Indonesia. He is the founder and chairman of the Jababeka Group, a major publicly listed industrial estate developer. He is also the founder and chairman of the board of trustees of President University, an important university which is located within the Jababeka community. He's also the author of two important books on the socio-economic development of Indonesia, Think Big, Start Small, Move Fast, and Building a Ship While Sailing. And 10 months ago, the Jababeka board asked him to once again steer the Jababeka ship and to return as president director and to improve its strategic direction. Pat Darmono, welcome to this podcast conversation.
Thank you, Dick. It's nice to meet you again on this podcast.
Yes. We've had very wonderful meetings in person in Jakarta, and this time we're using technology to have this conversation. Could we begin with you telling my audience a little bit about the Jababeka industrial estates, something about the scale and the size, and then we'll go into some other conversation.
Yes, well, thank you, Dick. Jababeka was founded 36 years ago in 1989, and the vision was to build a fully integrated world-class infrastructure industrial estate. That was to help investors from overseas to come to Indonesia and make it easy for them to do their business in manufacturing. So that was the vision. And to do that, I was not able to do it alone. So I had to invite a lot of friends who had their own expertise, they had their own capabilities, well known in the different sectors. So we gathered 21 shareholders, 21 top businessmen in Jakarta to build this one. And it was very easy then to be followed by foreign companies like Marubeni, Sumitomo, Hyundai, and so on to do this, to develop their own industrial estates. So that was how we began, with a vision to help the government, to help foreign investors, to make them easy to do business in Indonesia. One-stop service, we call it then. And within a short time, we created 1 million jobs in our first industrial estate, which was in Cikarang, 41 kilometers to the east of Jakarta.
Yeah. What's the composition today? How many people are working there? How many international companies are there?
Well, our own industrial estates from 500 hectares have been developed into 5,600 hectares, become a completely new town with a complete ecosystem. We employed about 1 million people, where there are 2,000 more companies, factories from 36 countries. And then the requirement becomes not only for industrial land, but also for housing, for shopping malls, for schools, hospitals, and so on. So it becomes a completely new town, which is now become a smart city, actually, with technology, with the many kinds of cultures from different countries, different people. So it's become an international city in a way. And then the others, like I mentioned about Marubeni, Sumitomo, and so on, totally there are now 7 industrial estates in that area. So it's easily becoming 200 square kilometers and becoming possibly the largest special economic zones, the largest in the world possibly after Shenzhen.
Can you talk a little bit now about the change in the world that the American administration is trying to do, the Trump 2 administration. Do you think this will have any impact on the companies that are living and thriving in Jababeka?
Yes, I think so. Because now when the tariff of the goods from China going to America have gone up so much, so the Chinese must find new markets like Southeast Asia, Africa, and so on. And I think the worry now is that there will be a lot of dumping, and that will be killing the local industries. But obviously, or I think automatically, our government and other possibly government in South Asia will increase the import tariff, not to make it easy for people just to dump their goods to Indonesia to protect our own manufacturing companies. So there will have to be some discussion how they can come in, they can export their goods to us, but then it has to be also combined with fully local manufactured good. And this is, I think, a win-win situation where the companies in Indonesia can also enjoy trading with foreign partners and enlarge their their export market, and at the same time learning about the technology. And for our people, is also improving our work ethics. So the Indonesian people, the Indonesian worker can learn more from the Chinese workers when they come to Indonesia, and the local content should be step by step increased, so that more and more companies from overseas become localized. So this is, I think, to be welcome.
Yeah,
but of course,
I think that's been the long-term plan before Trump, that you
correct.
want to attract Chinese industry and Japanese industry and Korean, and over time they will produce more local product, local content. But the word you used earlier, I think, is the concern of many economists, that these Chinese firms that are shut out of the American market because of the high tariffs are going to dump their product in Southeast Asia, or try to dump their product in Southeast Asia or Europe or Africa. And that would certainly undercut the work of many of your companies.
Yes, I think it's unavoidable. It's just we have to take an attitude whether we want to be positive or we want to be negative. If we want to be positive, which normally business people are always optimistic, I think we will have to welcome it rather than worry and then make all kinds of things which make our government even in having difficult situation. So this is a time when we have to collaborate more and more. We have to communicate better. Yeah. So it's better to be optimistic, start having more and more discussion, better communication. And also, this is more important for the young generation. That's why our Precision University is now even more aggressive in recruiting overseas students. We have already students from 39 countries, but the number is still small. So we want to, for example, target now, say, 100 students from Japan, 1,000 students from China, and if from Europe, from wherever want to study in Indonesia, to know how to do business in Indonesia, how to utilize the idle lands. We have plenty of people, young people, but they need to be educated. They need to be empowered. So my third book is called Bringing Civilization Together. This one, I have not given it to you yet. But this is, again, a roadmap, how we should collaborate better. And Asia among each other will also become closer. Yeah. Now, India will, of course, will also become stronger. And President Prabowo immediately went to New Delhi, right, to arrange from some kind of collaboration. He mentioned that in his blood, DNA, there was also Indian blood. So I'm sure if he went to China, he would also have said the same, that in his blood there was Chinese blood too, right? So this is the thing which I think very encouraging, that our president made already that move very fast. I think Indonesia has got a lot to offer, yeah, because we have a lot of idle assets. We have got a lot of young people, yeah, but we need friends, we need investors, we need to collaborate. And this kind of discussion in your podcast is very important to inform many people who actually are confused or they don't know what to do. You know, they always saw or see even today that Indonesia is a third world country. Yeah? But you know, we are so large. You come to Jakarta, you've been to Indonesia many times. You see, you cannot generalize the whole of Indonesia. So I think the idea of also President Prabowo is to build more and more special economic zone in Indonesia to make it easier for foreign investors to come to us. Now, when we develop new town, we develop special economic zones, we cannot get the money back from the infrastructure so quick. Yeah, it could take 20, 30 years, even 100 years if it is like a place like so remote like Morotai. But then, you know, if you take the analogy of Hong Kong, after 100 years, the infrastructure in Hong Kong becomes so good, middle class. Who benefited more, China or UK? I think the Chinese benefited more of the Hong Kong development after 100 years. So why don't we together develop places like Hong Kong, Singapore in the world together?
The concerns of many people today is that the American administration is turning away from that and saying that we don't want to be, we the Americans don't want to be, have to follow rules. We want to negotiate bilaterally with each country and try to get the most we can from each country. And that may or may not upset your plans, your goals for these long-term peaceful developments and cooperation.
It is a wake-up call for other countries too, and also for the American citizen. Now, you've enjoyed for too long. Yes, America borrowed money from Japan and US, and from Japan and China, and then China exported and Japan exported a lot to US. So the American borrow money from Japan and China using their money, right? So both are very comfortable, and I think this has to change. Right? It cannot go on like this. So other countries like Indonesia and so on, we have not enjoyed as good as China or USA or Europe, India, Africa, and so on. So it's something has really changed because between governments, United Nations, and so on, could not resolve this problem. So I think the nature takes its own course, right? Which is, of course, going to be tough. But in 1955, you remember, Sukarno, our founding father, the first president of Indonesia, he invited many new emerging forces to Bandung and had the so-called Asia-Africa Conference, bringing all the countries which just get out from the colonization.
The non-aligned,
so so-called
the non-aligned
non-alignment movement.
The Bandung Conference.
And you know, don't you think it is something which is mystical or strange that a country like Indonesia, which just emerged from colonization, in 1945 and only recognized by United States in 1950 as an independent country, then 5 years later invited Nehru, Nasser, Chow En-lai, and all the head states of the third world country then,
And
to
Tito.
form this non-alignment movement, and Tito also, right? So perhaps after now 70 years, Indonesia should lead again in also inviting all those countries who suffered because of the action from Trump. And this is something which will be good for everybody. You know, after a big storm, the storm will finish and then the sky will be blue, right? So we have to accept this one.
But we don't want the ship to sink. Well, thank you for taking time on Saturday morning to meet with me. And I look forward to seeing you in person in Jakarta or Bali or Los Angeles next time you're here.
Thank you. Likewise, Dick.
Okay.
It has been a pleasure.
Sampai jumpa, ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sampai jumpa.
Hosted by Dick Drobnik, the Asia Pacific Business Forum podcast is produced by Dan Griffin of GG Films.